What's going on, Reed? Why are you sitting backwards? Come here, buddy. So it's kind of a blizzard out here right now. So I thought I would take out the pinhole camera and Poochie. Man, it's really snowing out. This is Bay Beach Amusement Park. So there's a roller coaster over here. It's gonna be kind of hard to see that. There's a big Ferris wheel and some other things. It's all clearly closed down for the winter. But I thought it would be kind of cool to get some different angles with my pinhole camera. I do have some really cool pictures that I took in the winter here with a Holga that I lift printed that I really like. So I have a 4x5 format pinhole camera, and that's what I'm gonna shoot a little bit here today with. Maybe do some multiple exposures and just some other things. Everything is really kind of white and washed out, but I think if I just give the film maybe a bit more development, I think we'll be good. The first place I headed over to was a roller coaster called the Pippin. Now, apparently this was Elvis's favorite roller coaster. I have been on it a few times. The first time I went on it, I was terrified. The whole thing is made out of wood, which was kind of frightening to me, but I have been on it a few times since. It's really a lot of fun. Now, I went out there, and the camera I'm using is a 4x5, just a wooden pinhole camera. It's a super wide version. The f-stop is equivalent to an f154. So to do the exposures, I used my light meter, and I just did some spot metering off a few areas, and then used a exposure calculator, like a little pinhole exposure calculator that you can find them online. And then it just kind of translates over your exposure to like an f-stop of 154. And I was shooting with Ilford HP5, and in hindsight I wish I would have actually loaded some slower film, because my exposures got really short, and when you're just flipping open a manual shutter like that, it's hard to gauge what a quarter second is. I thought my exposures would still be in like the 2-second range, and they just weren't. And I think it's because there was so much there's just so much white reflecting everywhere that it brightens everything up a bit. So I went through and made a few exposures of the Pippin, and then I moved on to this circular swing carousel thing. Reed mostly ate snow. So I'm going to attempt to do some multiple exposures. It's going to be kind of squirrely though, because I'm supposed to only have like quarter second, and I don't have any ND filters for this thing. So I'm just going to kind of click it and click it and click it as fast as I can, and we'll kind of see what happens. I had seen this type of photography done years ago when I came across a photographer named Frank Michalowski, and his website is michalowski.de, and he just had some really amazing multi-exposure black and whites of like famous tourist attractions around Europe, and he had people like walking around, and his website is amazing. His work is amazing. So if you haven't checked him out, definitely go over there and take a look. I came across him maybe like 5 years ago, And I went out and I kind of like attempted something similar, and I kind of failed and gave up. And recently, a photographer that I follow on Instagram, his name is James Baturin. He goes on Instagram as Still and Still Moving. He posted some really cool multiple exposure shots in a similar fashion where you kind of just move around this stationary subject. And so I was really intrigued to try this again. Now I did this with my the pinhole camera simply because I am always taking multiple exposures by accident. I figured, hey, why not try and do it intentionally for a change, and see what I got. The negative did turn out really dense because I was already overexposing the shots, trying to move the shutter like as quick as I could. But I'm still pretty happy with the results and want to give it another try, in the future. And also, James has a write-up over on shootitwithfilm.com, and he breaks down like how he actually made those images, the exposures, the settings, how many shots and things like that. So definitely go check that out too, because that was really amazing for him to put that resource out there. And it definitely, inspired me to give this another shot, and I'm gonna keep playing with it and see what I can come up with. I noticed that I could get out to these trees that kind of stick out on the bay, and the bay was all frozen. But I did have to bring Reed back to the car. I didn't feel comfortable. I knew the bay was very frozen, but I couldn't really keep a good eye on him, so I didn't feel comfortable with if he ran off a ways. I wasn't sure how frozen, how far out it was. So I brought him back. I grabbed my Hasselblad, put the shell of my coat on, and walked back out to these trees to see what I could do. Took a few more pinhole shots and some shots with my Hasselblad, and I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out. It is frozen solid, but I saw these really cool trees out here, so I went back, got the shell for my coat, grabbed the Hasselblad as well, and decided to come out and take some pictures out here. But as you can see, so the roller coaster and everything's behind me now. Ooh, it's really windy out here, so I'm actually out standing on a frozen Lake Michigan. But yeah, here the trees and stuff in the background look really cool, and I've actually tried shooting these from the shore in the past, but they're a little ways out here. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to be able to just walk out here. I might be a popsicle by the time I'm done, but it's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna take a few more pictures and then go warm up. Kept kind of teasing me. It would come out from behind the clouds, like right over the Zippin' Pippin, and it looked really cool. And so I wanted to try and get a pinhole shot of the whole Zippin' Pippin, and then I proceeded to walk up on the shore to try and get a few more angles on it. And I got a couple cool shots, but like I said, the sun was kind of teasing me, so then I kind of hurried and ran over here to see what I could do. That was the last frame I had with that, so I really hope that worked. Yeah. Whew. You all right, buddy? Well, I have no idea if I got anything, but it just feels good to go out and try. So yeah, I'm gonna drive around a little bit. Maybe I'll find some other things to shoot. That wasn't really what I intended to take pictures of, but it was so cold, and then they had the back side of it locked off. Whew. So hope you enjoyed coming along on this little expedition, and we'll see you next time in the next video. Peace.
Thank you.